It had not always been this way. Kratos had once been a champion of the gods.
Kratos, this beast, this Hydra, it has terrorized my seas for far too long.
Save me. Thank the gods you came back for me.
You didn't come back for me.
I know who you are, Spartan. I know what you've done. I would rather die than be saved by you. No!
Your skills are admirable.
Athena! 10 years, Athena. I have faithfully served the gods for 10 years. When will you relieve me of these nightmares?
We request one final task of you, Kratos. Athens is on the verge of destruction. It is the will of Ares my great city fall. Only a mortal trained by a god has a chance at defeating Ares.
And if I am able to do this, to kill a god, then the visions, they will end?
Complete this final task, and the past that consumes you will be forgiven.
The gods of Olympus have abandoned me. Now there is no hope.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play God of War Original Recipe, the 2005 classic God of War title by Santa Monica Studio. Here we are at the main menu. I'm just showing off a couple of things that I did before I started actually playing, namely changing to full screen because this is the PS3 remaster, and why wouldn't you change it to full screen? I don't really know. I'm also showing off the difficulty mode that I'm playing this game on, which is, again, God mode, very hard mode. The highest difficulty you can play this game on. I'm playing it on that difficulty, so there you go. I'm also showing off that in God mode, you cannot pick alternate costumes for Kratos. You must play as regular default Kratos for the entirety of the game. So yeah, that's that. Moving back on, we have where we left off. Athena gave us our mission. Kill Ares, an actual Olympian god. We've killed the god before. The queen of the underworld, Hades' wife, Persephone, but now it's time for us to go after a true Olympian. First, Kratos tells these two ladies to leave because they've arrived at Athens, even though Athens is under siege. But you don't have to leave immediately. You can engage in your first sexy time minigame right here, showing us some more about QTEs. Not only do we have actual face button QTEs like pressing X, square, triangle, circle, we also have these where we have to move the analog stick in certain directions. Those are particularly annoying, especially with certain bosses and enemies way later on in this game, so we'll get into that as we get into it. We're also taking a look at our main menu here. The main menu where we can power up our weapons and our magic. Yeah, we're gonna power up our first thing soon. But first, I should say that the Sexy Time minigame, you only get a ton of red orbs for doing it once. You can play it as many times as you want, but it's all diminishing returns. Playing the Sexy Time minigame once gets you a whole bunch of red orbs. Playing it again gets you like literally less than 10 red orbs, so there's no point doing that more than once. Yeah, unless you want to, for whatever reason. Yeah. So here we go. I believe we're almost at enough red orbs to power up our first thing. In this case, it's going to be the magic, not the blades, but we'll talk about that later. Because we've now reached our first true main area of the game. We're no longer in the vertical slice opening. We're now in the actual meat of the game itself. We're in the city of Athens, where we're going to be spending the next 2 videos. So get used to this place. You can speak to the statue of Athena here.
Give you your past.
Kind of foreshadowing some stuff.
Find the oracle. She will guide you in your quest.
Foreshadowing some stuff and giving you some actual advice on what you're going to be doing next. You have this big little area. You got this big little area. You got this big area here you can play around in and explore, and continue practicing your controls and stuff. But we also have some enemies here. These enemies are armored. So now it's time to talk about how we're actually going to be playing this game. It's going to be like this a lot of the time. Launching enemies up into the air and then mashing circle to keep doing damage to them while they're in the air. Because when enemies are in the air, it doesn't matter how armored they are. You're going to do damage to them anyway. Doing enough punches on them while they're in the air is going to activate circle prompt, in which case you can just toss them to other enemies, doing some more damage to them. This is how we're going to be dealing with enemies a lot in this game. It's a classic method that we saw play out in Chains of Olympus a lot, and it's something that we're going to keep doing in the original God of War. It's not as effective in the original God of War as it is in Chains of Olympus, but that strategy of launching enemies up into the air and then just mashing circle is going to be our go-to for quite a while. Again, it's not as effective as it was in Chains of Olympus, but it is still going to be our main go-to for a good long while, just because, you know, God mode is very difficult. Enemies do a lot of damage. You don't do that much damage to enemies even when your blades are fully powered up, so it's a good idea to just fall back on this strategy. That way you're as safe as possible, doing as much damage as possible. Yeah. Anyway, nice big open area to begin exploring and begin our quest to kill an actual Olympian god, a son of Zeus, different from Persephone, who was the wife of Hades and not originally a goddess herself. Enemies do a ton of damage. Jesus, I'm already at half health and I took like 2 hits. This is something we're going to be seeing a lot in God of War, by the way, in this playthrough. These speed ups and cuts, because, well, getting into the actual meat of God of War, you're going to notice that God of War is a very, very, very slow game, plagued with some unpolish here and there. That was one of the cases. You saw that I had that enemy launched into the air and pressing circle again and again and again to do some slam damage, to do some chip damage. Normally that enemy would have been dead in just a few hits of that, but because of something, I'm not sure, a glitch, I guess, a bug, it just made it so that I could have juggled that enemy forever and it never would have died. It's so weird. It's weird. This game is plagued by some weird little bugs, but now we have a cutscene. Here we go.
Run! Run! The beasts have taken Athens! Look out! No! No! Stay away from me!
Yeah, plagued with a whole bunch of weird little bugs that I guess were the result of remastering this for the PS3. Don't mistake any gripes I may have with the small nitpicky bugs. They're very annoying in high difficulty playthroughs, but this is still a remarkable achievement by Santa Monica Studios. Anyway, we have here our Minotaurs, our first mythological enemies, not counting undead soldiers. Minotaurs can be killed in one of 2 ways. You can either just chip them down and kill them normally, or you can do button mash circle QTE. If you do the button mash circle QTE, you are guaranteed to always get green orbs from Minotaurs. This is a mechanic that is introduced in this first God of War game. It's something that goes on lightly throughout the entire God of War franchise in the Greek mythology games. Basically, if you kill mythological enemies in certain ways, i.e. the QTE way, you're going to get a certain type of orb from them all the time. So it becomes a game of a risk-reward. So in this case, I have full health. I have no reason to want more health from a Minotaur. I want red orbs instead, so I'm going to kill the Minotaur in such a way that I'm going to get red orbs, which means not doing the QTE, which means just killing it normally. Now I get red orbs. But if I was low on health, and I had the opportunity to do a QTE kill on a Minotaur, then I would absolutely go ahead and do the QTE kill so I can get some extra health from the Minotaur. That's how mythological enemies work. Not just for Minotaurs, but for all of them, basically, have some soft mechanic like that as well. So that's something to keep an eye out for.
Jew! Have reinforcements arrived? Ares has brought these beasts to Athens! Without help, the city will fall! Gates destroyed! You'll have to fight another war!
That's unfortunate. Anyway, yeah, all the mythological enemies have some kind of a system like that, including these guys, Cyclops. Cyclops in this game look really fucking cool. They have these awesome maces. I really like their visual design. They're not that difficult in this game. They're very, very straightforward. They do a lot of damage, obviously, because we're in God mode, but this is a very, very straightforward situation. Just keep your distance, do square, square, triangle combos. That's going to stun them, push them back a little bit. Keep doing that, and you will kill them pretty easily. We're going to get into another mechanic about original recipe God of War that I don't like in this fight. But first of all, let's go ahead and actually kill this Cyclops here. With a nice, cool, I think it's a 4-button QTE here? Yeah, it's a 4-button QTE. I went through the ceiling there. It's a 4-button QTE. Killing the Cyclops gets you a ton of red orbs, enough for us to power up our first thing. Normally, I would recommend powering up the blades, but in the case of original recipe God of War, first thing you really want to power up, especially in a high difficulty playthrough, is going to be Poseidon's Rage. Look at that. The thing hurt me, but I didn't take any damage. So it's fucking weird sometimes how God of War determines damage. And, that, meanwhile, did so much fucking damage to me. It's really crazy. Anyway, now we have our upgraded Poseidon's Rage. Upgraded Poseidon's Rage is a must in a high difficulty playthrough. Get that as early as you possibly can. If you mess up a QTE in original God of War as compared to, Chains of Olympus or something, you don't take that much damage from messing up, but try not to mess up too often because you are going to take some damage. It's not a great situation to mess up a QTE. Now, I believe with this Cyclops, I'm actually going to push him off the edge, because I do want to show off something. Yeah. I pushed him off the edge, and you're going to notice that I didn't actually get any red orbs for that. That's because original God of War has this weird thing where red orbs don't just automatically aggro to Kratos. If the red orbs are far enough away from Kratos, it's just not gonna reach him. They're just gonna stay there until they despawn, and it's just not going to be attracted to you and go towards your red orb counter. It's a very weird thing. I don't like that mechanic at all in God of War, and luckily, it's obvious that people didn't like it at all, because Santa Monica Studios fixed that completely for God of War 2, and it never happens again in any other God of War. So it's just an original God of War thing where if red orbs are far enough away, and we're going to see an example of this a little bit later on in this video of what happens when red orbs are far away from you. If red orbs are far enough away from you, they're just not going to be magnetically attracted to Kratos and go towards him. It's very, very strange. I don't like it. And it makes it so you're not encouraged to do creative things like pushing Cyclopses off the edge to kill them faster, because then you're not going to be rewarded with any red orbs. It's forcing you to play the game in one way, and in high difficulties a very dangerous way, and I'm not a big fan of that at all. But this is an example of a light puzzle room where we have just a quiet room, no enemies. We're not under duress. We have plenty of time to get through this area however we want. Doing what we need to do to, make the exit and stuff accessible. So, yeah. Expect to see a lot of this in original recipe God of War as well. Here we have another chest, this one with our third Gorgon's Eye. We also got our first Phoenix Feather. Unlike the God of War games where so far we've had to collect 5 of a certain thing to power up our health or our magic, in this game we have to collect 6. So 6 Gorgon Eyes to power up our health, and 6 Phoenix Feathers to power up our magic. There's going to be a total of 18 Gorgon's Eyes and 18 Phoenix Feathers total in the game. But there are going to be 4 health upgrades and 4 magic upgrades. So you might be wondering, how do we upgrade our magic and our health the 4th and final time? Well, that's going to be a secret that we're going to get into way, way, way later. For now, just focus on finding Gorgon's Eyes and Phoenix Feathers. Cutscene time. Here we go.
Aphrodite.
Kratos, the gods are pleased with your progress. But your current skills will not be enough to defeat the minions of Ares. I offer you the power to freeze your enemies where they stand. But you must earn such a gift. Medusa, the queen of the Gorgons. Bring me her head, Kratos, and I will give you the ability to wield its power.
Okay, our next mini-boss, this is going to be Medusa, the Gorgon Queen. This is a very, very tricky boss for early God mode. For early God mode playthroughs. Medusa does a lot of damage, she's very fast. I would recommend using Poseidon's Rage, because I think it's just 3 or 4 Poseidon's Rage that are going to get her down to QTE range. If you can do what I did and open up the chest during the middle of combat, and that's going to help you a lot. So this also teaches you that you can open chests in the middle of combat for quick recovery if necessary. And we're also going to be taught how to kill Gorgons through QTEs, which is the circle, which is the analog stick prompts, which are very annoying.
Freeze and destroy them all with Medusa's gaze, and the power of the Gorgon will be yours.
The analog prompts are very annoying because they're very easy to mess up, but now we have Medusa's gaze, which is a great second magic power. It's not something we're going to use that often, but it is something we're going to throw out every now and again, especially against Minotaurs, especially against higher duty magical creatures like Minotaurs, mainly Minotaurs. It freezes them so quickly, and then you can just break them apart once they are frozen. That it's great. Medusa's gaze is a very good tool to have in the toolbox. It's not something that we're going to be relying on as much as the Poseidon's Rage, but it is something handy to have. It doesn't waste that much magic either. It wastes even less magic once you upgrade it further. So that's good. And here we're going to have another short cutscene.
Go with the gods, Kratos. Go forth in the name of Olympus.
So it doesn't waste that much magic, especially on higher difficulties. It can get you to a point where you can instantly kill tougher magical creatures, mythical creatures, as you say, like Minotaurs. So yeah, it's a very, very good tool to have for the for your tool belt, as it were. It does cost quite a bit to upgrade, and we're not going to focus on upgrading it just yet because it's not our next primary focus. Our next primary focus is going to be upgrading our blades. Anyway, as I was saying, 4 health upgrades and 4 magic upgrades. This is what I was talking about before we got into our fight with Medusa, the Gorgon Queen. 4 health upgrades, 4 magic upgrades. There's also a secret couple of red orb chests behind that dead body that was highlighted that I didn't get. We're going to talk about that more later, but first of all, 4 health upgrades, 4 magic upgrades. You're only going to get 3 normally. The fourth health upgrade and the 4th magic upgrade are secret upgrades. We're going to talk about those later. Let's talk about the secret red orb chests and white chests that are in this game, because for the life of me, I don't truly get why David Jaffe, we're speeding up here, this is very slow. For the life of me, I don't get why David Jaffe, the director of this game, doesn't like Metroid Dread, when his game, God of War, original recipe, is basically filled to the brim with this kind of stuff, with the kind of stuff that Dread does in its main design. This game is just filled to the brim with, in some cases, it's even more egregious in this game than it is in Metroid Dread. So truly, I don't fully get why he doesn't like the secret stuff in Dread, the hidden walls and shit in Dread, when this game is filled to the brim with them. And I get to a certain extent that, you know, all the secret stuff in this game is not like required to beat it, but I mean, you hide this kind of stuff all over the place, and then you're bashing another game for having this kind of stuff that's much more clearly laid out. I don't know. I don't get it. It baffles me that he doesn't like Dread that much when this does a lot of the same things that a Metroid game would do. Obviously, this game is not a Metroidvania by any stretch of the imagination, but it does follow some of the same philosophies of how to hide collectibles and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. We have enough red orbs now to power up our Blades of Chaos, so we're going to do that as soon as possible. You really want to make sure you power up the blades as soon as you can, because now we have Rage of the Gods.
Let the rage of the gods drive your blades, Kratos.
Rage of the Gods is sort of our super mode for this game. Killing enemies, doing basically anything is going to fill it up bit by bit, and once it's fully filled up, you can press the button and activate it and become invincible for a little while. Not fully invincible. I think you still take damage when you're in Rage of the Gods mode, but you do so much damage yourself that you're gonna want to get that as soon as possible. In the meantime, we have another very annoying climbing section. Again, the climbing sections are my least favorite part of any God of War game. I hate them so much. Especially in this one, the controls are so slow. You're so slow. In the higher difficulties, you take so much damage that it's not fun. I don't find these sections fun at all, which is why I'm speeding through them as fast as I can, because I don't want to bore us by having us stay here for forever doing this. This video is already 47 minutes long, and that's with this sped up. I don't want to imagine how long this would have been if I did this just at regular speed. And actually, that gets us into another editing thing I want to talk about with this game. There's a lot of parts in this game, a lot of fights where I speed things up a little bit, or just, skip entirely, because the first God of War, compared to other God of War games, again, I love this game a lot, but it's much, much slower paced than other God of War games. We have a quick QTE here. We're gonna push the statue. So, nice, fun little cutscene there of Kratos pushing that statue. Nice job, Kratos. Anyway, original God of War is a lot slower paced than the other God of Wars. And there's a lot of sections where what should just be regular puzzle areas, you're being accosted by enemies. And in the higher difficulties, again, you do very little damage, they do a ton of damage. There's a lot of little points in the higher difficulties that are quite annoying in original God of War, which is why there's going to be a lot of parts where I'm just going to be going faster than average, or just skipping them entirely, because it's just not going to be fun to see. It's fun to play. I will grant that it's fun to always be kept on your toes and have these enemies come up at you during times where you think you should be safe, but it's not that fun to watch, which is why there's going to be a lot of parts in original God of War here in this playthrough where we are just going to be. I got very lucky that Gorgon didn't just freeze me while I was up in the sky. If you get frozen while you're up in the sky, then that's automatically you're dead, because by the time you hit the ground, you're going to shatter into a million pieces, and that's the end of it. Yeah, a lot of points in God of War where you're just going to be constantly, like in this case. This would be a case where normally there wouldn't be any enemies in another God of War game, but in this one, there's a couple of Minotaurs here that you have to kill. So that's just what original God of War is like. It's going to be all these points where you think you should be safe, you think you should have a moment to yourself where you can just do what you need to do, but in reality, you're just going to be accosted by enemies. I'm activating Rage of the Gods here for the first time. Pretty cool. Nice infinite, invincibility mode. I said infinite, but it's invincibility mode. Nice invincibility mode there. You still take damage. I don't think you can actually die in Rage of the Gods. I messed up the QTE 2 times. I wanted magic, but It's very difficult to do the analog stick QTEs, I think, which is why a lot of times I don't bother with them, and why I'm not a fan that the second big boss of this game, which we're going to get to way, way, way later on, has a whole bunch of analog stick QTEs. Not a big fan of that, but yeah. Some basic climbing, but again, more enemies. Again, in other God of Wars, you probably wouldn't be accosted by enemies nearly as much. In fact, we played Chains of Olympus, we played Ascension. We're going to be playing God of War 2 later on, and Ghost of Sparta and all that. And we're not going to be accosted by enemies nearly as much as we are in the original God of War. They were still trying to get the hang of what the pacing was going to be like in the original God of War. And they got like 80, like, I want to say like 80 to 90% of the way there with what these were going to be like, but they didn't fully get it yet. The pacing does feel a little bit off, not completely off. It's very close enough to what God of War is going to eventually just become for the rest of the Greek mythology times, for the Greek mythology era of the games, but they're not fully there yet. You can tell the original God of War is just a little bit off every now and again with how certain things are paced. Again, this is another situation where in other God of War games, enemies wouldn't have spawned up at this point to attack Kratos. In other God of War games, they would have been confident enough in the pacing and the length of the game that they would need to try to space it out with more enemies here. But in this case, they decided to spawn more enemies here. Again, the pacing is a little bit off, not completely, not totally wrong, not completely bad, but it is a little bit off to what it's going to be like in the rest of the God of War games. Now we have rope climbing. The rope climbing is awful. I'm not a fan of the rope climbing either. This is just as bad as the wall climbing. The rope hanging stuff is really bad. Very little movement. Enemies do a lot of damage. I got very lucky in this first one. I'm not going to get lucky in other ones. There's going to be some rope hanging sections where I die many, many times. This and the wall climbing are the least fun parts of high difficulty God of War. It's not great. But the basic strategy is move forward little bit by bit, try to bait the enemies out, try to get as much distance as possible, because you want to let the enemy take a swipe at you first, and then you move in to grab them, and grab them. Don't try to use the square or the triangle attacks, just use circle to grab them. Don't bother doing anything else but grab them. In the high difficulties, there's no point. You're going to leave yourself open if you just try to attack them. If you grab them, like 9 times out of 10, the other enemies will leave you alone and let you do the grab. Not always. Not fucking always. Sometimes the enemies are just going to keep attacking you anyway, and it's really, really fucking annoying. But 9 times out of 10, when you grab an enemy and you get into that little cutscene where you throw them down, where you throw them off the rope, you will be able to do it without getting hurt. And if they let you do that, then great. That's good RNG. And if not, then, you're fucked. Don't bother trying to attack them in any way. Here we have a good example of the red orb situation that I was talking about earlier in God of War, about how the red orbs don't aggro towards you in this original game. If they're far enough away from you, they're just going to sit there. You can see them. They're just sitting there. They're not flying towards you like they normally would in any other God of War game. They're just there. Yeah, not a fan of that decision either, but again, this is the first game, and obviously they figured out pretty quickly how to fix this stuff, because by the time we get to God of War 2, that's already completely fixed up. Secret chests up here. Again, I don't get why the director of this game is not like Dread. His game is chock filled with little secret passageways and cubbies and stuff, little nooks and crannies here and there that just have secret stuff hidden all over the place. I don't get why he doesn't like Dread when that's what his game is, but here we are. It's time for a cutscene.
Do not fear, Kratos. I am the Oracle of Athens, here to help you defeat Ares. Find my temple to the east, and I will show you how to murder a god.
Okay, cool. Now our mission becomes clearer. Again, Kratos has murdered a goddess before, and the Furies, which are these old, like, almost primordial beings. Another cutscene. Here we go. To seeing Ares for the first time is really cool. And just before that, getting our mission from the Oracle about how to kill a god. Then we actually see the god. We see the kind of damage that he does. It's really cool. I'm going to the right first. You don't have to go to the right first. Eventually, you will have to come this way anyway. So if you want to save this white chest here for later, you can. I'm getting it now just because I want to power up my shit as early as possible, especially in higher difficulties. But you're going to have to come through this direction anyway, eventually, so don't worry about missing that little white chest there. Now I made my way back to where we left off. Again, I really like how we build up to seeing Ares for the first time and talking about how to murder a god, then we actually see the god and all the chaos he's causing. It's really cool. Yeah, it's really awesome how we do this. Anyway, as I was saying before, Kratos has technically killed a god before, but this is... cutscene that interrupted me. Anyway, Kratos has killed a god before, but this is the first, like, true Olympian, like a classic son of Zeus kind of situation here that we're gonna be going after. It's cool. I like it. Anyway, in this room we're introduced to new Minotaur variants, the ones with these giant, like, big fucking scary looking hammer situations here that they've got. This is a puzzle room where we have to use the enemies to solve it. So basically we have to get this Minotaur onto this button, because this button is not a button that you can just press down. It's a button that as soon as you get off it, the thing is just gonna lift back up and and you'll be stuck in that room forever. So you have to use a Minotaur, Medusa's Gaze, to freeze the Minotaur on the button, and then very, very quickly use your roll, then R1 button, which is, you get that from Blades of Chaos level 2, I believe, which is why you want to upgrade to Blades of Chaos as soon as possible, for the better movement, to just get out of that room as soon as possible. Yeah. I rambled my way through that, but that's the basic gist of what you do. Medusa's Gaze, Minotaur holds the button for you, you roll very quickly to the exit, the end. Now we're in the streets of Athens, the road of Athens, I should say. In the road of Athens, there are a whole bunch of homes, a whole bunch of chests in those homes, and a whole bunch of enemies. The way I like to go about this area is killing all the enemies first, and then after that, I revisit all the homes and, take all the shit that's in there. There's no point trying to juggle them both at the same time, because that's not how I best operate. So I go through the whole area once, I clear it of enemies. You can kill the innocent Athenians if you want to, if you need some extra health. That's there for you, that's your prerogative if you want. At this point, Kratos doesn't really care anymore. He's so trapped in the bullshit of the gods that, killing some innocent people. He's a Spartan. Normally he wouldn't be super cool with this kind of thing, but he's been in this shit for so long now that, why not? And this fight with the Minotaurs took a long time, so I skipped it. We know how to fight Minotaurs already. We just fight with block. Not much to them, so I decided to just skip the fight entirely. And that was the last of the enemies, which means now we can go back and really, really go through the homes here and take all the stuff that are in there. There's a lot of hidden nooks and crannies in these homes, so you want to try to explore as best you can. Speaking of the explorations, I missed quite a few chests in this playthrough. Normally I don't miss that many in both Ascension and in Chains of Olympus, but in this original God of War playthrough, some of the shit is really, really well hidden. Like super duper well hidden to the point where I don't find a lot of red orb chests. I find almost all of the plain white chests with the Gorgon's eyes and the phoenix feathers, you know, those kind of chests. But a lot of the chests that are glowing red, that have like a bunch of red orbs, I'm pretty sure I missed like 15 of them. I think my collectibles guide says that I missed like 15 of them. Here, by the way, we have our 6th Gorgon's Eyes, so now we get our first health upgrade. The first of 4, but only 3 upgrades that we're actually going to be getting through Gorgon's Eyes. Anyway, I missed like fucking 15 red orb chests in this playthrough, because some of them are really, 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 really fucking well hidden. And I missed quite a few of them. There's going to be a link in the collectibles guide to another guide that I used some footage from in regards to some of the missed white chests. That also lays out where all the red orb chests are. I would seriously recommend you watch that, because holy shit, some of that shit is really, really well hidden. It's crazy how well hidden some of these chests are. I get, you know, a decent amount of them, and again, I get most of the plain white chests. So it's going to be a pretty decent guide to help you you know, upgrade your health and your magic as soon as possible. But goddamn, some of those red orb chests are so crazily hidden that after like 6 playthroughs of this game, some of them I discovered for the very first time watching that video. It's crazy how well hidden some of the chests are. Here, by the way, we're introduced to rope swinging. You just hold down circle, and then you just jump when it's time to jump onto the next rope. There's another red orb chest up here. This one's pretty well hidden too. It's a decent well hidden one. Not a super crazy well hidden one, because again, I was able to find this, which means most people can probably find this. But decently well hidden. Again, God of War does a great job of hiding its shit to the point where I don't get why the director doesn't like Metroid Dread that much, but it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. Remember, A, B, E, something I said back in God of War Ascension, and it's continued in Chains of Olympus, and will continue here. Always be exploring. Always be breaking shit. Always be going off the beaten path whenever you can. Original God of War especially does a great job of hiding its shit, so it's always worth your time to go off the beaten path and, you know, try to get stuff. Because most of the time there is going to be stuff hidden there that you can get to get more red orbs to help you power up your weapons and stuff earlier. This is a pretty cool little moment here. The people running, the harpies grabbing people. That's a pretty effective moment. I really like that. Yeah, good fucking game. I love this game so much. Metacritic-wise, I didn't talk about Metacritic last time, but I mentioned it briefly in the Ascension playthrough. That original God of War got a 94 on Metacritic. Very well received. Again, the game that launched the franchise. We can talk more about that later. Right now, we have our first encounter with this variant of Cyclops. The non-mace variant of Cyclopes I should say, are very, very annoying. Cyclopes, by the way, I learned that term reading the audiobook of reading and also listening to the novelization of God of War. I'm going to talk about that too as well. Anyway, these variants of Cyclopes, very annoying. They have a lot of health. It takes so fucking long to kill them. I'm showing you the first one here just to, you know, really hammer in just how long it takes in high difficulties to kill this guy. It's not fun, especially when there's like 3 of them on you at the same time. This first fight is very easy because you have all these Athenians running around, with the Athenians all running around. basically you have all this free health at your disposal if you do really, really badly, because killing Athenians, the fleeing Athenians, is going to give you free health. Doing a circle QTE 3 times is going to be enough to down one of these Cyclopes at last. It's a very slow process, which is why I skipped the second Cyclope fight. I keep this one here because we're already at the end of it, so that's that. And again, if you get in trouble in this Cyclops fight, don't worry, because the Athenians are, I think, infinitely spawning, and they give you green orbs for killing them, and they give you a lot of health back for killing them. So if you get in trouble with the Cyclopes, just kill Athenians that are running around, and you will get some free health back. Really driving home the brutality of the first game, that you have to kill regular innocent people to get your health back, because that's just how 2005 God of War rolls, baby. ABE, always be exploring. Plenty more chests hidden all over the place. Again, there's 91 fucking white orb chests in this game, and a lot of them you get in Athens, so it's worth your time to explore as much as you can. Some of them are really, really, really hard to get that I've never even considered getting, but they're there. So make it part of your mission when playing God of War to explore as much as you can to get as many white chests, as many red orbs as soon as possible, to upgrade your shit as early as possible.
Don't come near me.
Now we have to get past that gate we saw earlier. To get past that gate, we're going to need the help of that woman. Hopefully she'll be able to cooperate, but there's, this is the Ghost of Sparta. People know what he's all about. People know that he is kin killer. Something that's also brought up in the novelization of God of War. Yeah, I read the novelization of God of War in preparation for this Let's Play and the extras video. I liked it. It's pretty good. Not amazing, not the best book you're ever going to read ever, but it's okay. There's better novelizations. I think the novelization for the 2018 game is much better than the novelization for the 2005 game. Which is a shame, because they did the novelization for this game 5 years after the game actually came out, so you would think with that extra time that they would be more creative with it, but not really. It's okay, but it's not amazing. I do like how the novelization, jumps forth from what's actually happening in the game to the politics on Olympus. I like that. That's a really good addition to it. But other than that, there isn't that much to super duper love about the book. Again, it's good, but the Medusa thing, for example, is really annoying in the novelization. Like, Kratos is forced to take this giant detour. Instead of just killing the Medusa in Athens, like he does in the game in like 2 seconds, he's forced to go to like this completely different area for a little while to do that. It's really annoying. Anyway, we're chasing this woman. We want her help to get past the gate. We don't know exactly how she's going to help us yet, but it's going to become clear in a second. So let's talk to her.
I know who you are. I know what you've done. Monster.
Wait!
Stay back! Get away from me!
Yeah. Being Kratos is not great. I mean, yeah, you're a super, shad fighter, but
Keep away!
people don't like you. At all. That's unfortunate. That is very, very unfortunate. Anyway, getting the key from this woman is going to be the last thing we're going to be doing, because we can't get past the gate, but there is a trap door above said gate that we're going to take a look at right now that we can use the key to actually get through, and getting us to the other side of the gate very effectively. So let's go ahead and grab the key from the woman. Thank you. The woman is dead. Thank you for saying that, God of War. I couldn't tell without you. You really helped me out there. Anyway, now that we're on our way back to the hatch, obviously this time around, it's going to be full of enemies. But these are not exciting encounters. We're not doing anything crazy here. We're fighting enemies we've already fought plenty of times before, already, even in just this video. So we're going fast, we're skipping. Very straightforward. Killing Medusas with the circle prompt, similar to how Minotaurs always give you health. Medusas, Gorgons will always give you magic. I'm killing all the enemies I can here for more red orbs. You don't have to kill every single one of them, obviously. Plenty of speed runs. Just skip past a whole bunch of enemies to, go faster because you can. Because there's no invisible walls or stopping you or anything. You're just going. There's a hidden white chest here in this room. We're gonna see it on the collectibles guide. It's crazy how well hidden some of the chests are in this game. It really is. Anyway, I believe with those Medusas in the garden dead, I think those are the last of the enemies in this whole area. I think there's potentially a couple of archers at the top of the stairs where the woman got so freaked out that she fell to her death. But I could be wrong about that. I guess we'll see. It's been a while since I actually... Oh, there they are. Yep. Cool. It's been a while since I actually recorded the footage before doing the commentary for this. That, potentially. They might not have been there, but I guess my memory is pretty good. So, we kill them. And that's that. I think that's it. There's no more enemies now. Now it's time for a quick save-a-roo. A save-a-roo. Now we're going to go through the hatch, and that'll be that. We're at the end of the video. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching Episode 2 of Let's Play God of War, God Mode, very hard mode. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings. Yeah, I'll see you all next time. We're still in Athens. Now it's time to track down the Oracle and find out how we're going to kill a god. A real super-duper god, born a god, been a god this whole time. How are we going to do that? We're going to find out next time. So again, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all then. Bye, everybody. Thank you.